You know, if you're contemplating being a real estate investor, the very first thing you have to do is learn how to find the market value of a house. It's the most important thing you'll ever learn how to do. My name is Mitch Stephen, and I've bought a house just about every 4 to 5 days in or about my hometown for over 2.5 decades. That's about 100 houses a year for over 20 years. And that equals a little over 2,000 houses, but who's counting? That's just the ones that worked out. There's a lot of houses, a lot of negotiations, a lot of situations, for whatever reason, didn't fall in my favor and they went away. So there's thousands upon thousands upon thousands of attempts that didn't make it. That's a lot of experience. So one of the most important assets you'll ever have as a real estate investor is your ability to establish value. After all, you don't even know what to offer on a house until you know what you can sell it for. So your ability to establish value is paramount. It's the most important thing you'll ever learn to do. In order to establish a true value, you have to be able to get your hands on some super data. Now, the super data that I use is usually collected somehow, some way. The MLS system is involved, from the Board of Realtors or whatever. The multiple listing service and its data bank used by real estate brokers and real estate agents has the most complete, comprehensive set of information you can probably hope to get your hands on. The problem is they hold that information very closely, and they will not let you have access to it if you're not a broker or an agent. Now, you could go out and get your broker's license or your agent's license, but that's a long way to go just to get your hands on a set of information. So let me suggest to you some ways you might get your hands on that kind of information without having to be a broker or a real estate agent. So before I share that secret of how I've been able to get access to the MLS listing service without being a broker or an agent, go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe to this channel. Okay, so here we are. We're real estate investors. We really need this information. We need to be able to get into this data and sort and sift so that we can figure out what things are worth. But we have one problem. We're not a real estate broker and we're not a real estate agent. So in some parts of the countries, you can actually buy into the MLS system data without actually having to be a broker or an agent. But that's not all over, and there's still some caveats. I'm not sure we're getting exactly what the MLS system gives you. Nonetheless, if that works for you, you can do that. But if you're intent on getting access to the MLS system, then let me tell you how I've done it before. First thing is, I have to realize what I have to offer to an agent. I have to look at 15, 20, 25 houses before I buy one house at a discount to someone who wants to sell now and at a reduced price. Let's just say I have to average 20 houses to buy one house. That means that there's 19 other sellers that want to sell their house, but they don't want to do it in a hurry and with a discount. Those people need to be listed on the MLS system with a real estate agent or broker. They need to go the traditional route. So that's what I have to offer an agent. For every house I buy, there's 19 sellers that said no to me. I can introduce you to them. It's 19 people that want to sell their house, but they don't want to move fast and they don't want to take cash at a reduced price. They want the top price. They want to sell it through an agent. I can introduce you to 19 a lot of times. I can introduce an agent to a lot of prospects. So if you're in this business for any length of time, there's a lot of agents out there that you meet, you greet. You see them at the mixers, you see them at the real estate clubs, you see them at the investment clubs. There's always a bunch of realtors around. Now, if you walk up to this realtor and say, hey, and you give them a little elbow and say, how about I pay your MLS dues and you give me access to your MLS? It's probably not going to work. The MLS system and the Board of Realtors and the whole hierarchy up there has just put the fear of you-know-who in these people for like breaking the rules. Beyond that, computers are getting pretty savvy. They're starting to recognize the IP address of computers and who's opening up using a password from where. And if they see irregularities, they're starting to nail these people. I thought, well, that's crazy because I know a whole bunch of brokers and I know a whole bunch of agents that have assistants. And every one of their assistants have access to the MLS because what do you think those assistants do for those brokers and those agents? They do things like pull comps and enter information into the system. They have to have the password to get in. So what's the difference in them and me? Well, really nothing. It's just how I'm framing it. If I say, hey, I want to be your listing assistant, can I have access to your MLS? They'll say yes, because I'll be a listing assistant. He goes, well, how are you going to help me? I can help you get listings. How can you help? I buy 100 houses a year. I have to look at about 20 houses to buy one house. That means there's a lot of people that I talk to that didn't want to sell me their house, and they need an agent like you. So if you'll help me, I can help you. Why don't you hire me as your listing assistant, and I will work for you? And then in the meantime, I might do a little research for myself. Actually, when I'm doing research for myself, I am doing research for the broker or the agent. Because again, what runs out of my exhaust pipe is people that don't want to sell at a discount, but they want to sell. And that's clearly broker and agent material. In my book, My Life in 1,000 Houses, 200 plus ways to find bargain properties, I talk about all kinds of ways to find houses. Go to 1000houses.com or click on this link right here, and it'll show you where to get a copy of this book. And if you order from that site, it always comes autographed. So click now and get a copy of your book. I can't imagine it won't help you.